She was never meant to be in the middle of the action, never supposed to hold that rifle, and according to the official plan, Technical Sergeant Ava Torres was only there to observe, take notes, and stay far from where the real operators handled the dangerous work. But when 12 hostile fighters trapped a whole SEAL platoon in the Syrian Badia near Raqqa, when America's most elite couldn't get a clear shot through the shimmering heat and brutal sandstorm winds, she made a decision that changed everything. Ava stepped straight into that kill zone, set up her weapon, and turned the impossible into something that looked routine. 12 targets, 90 seconds, not a single miss. Before we break down exactly how she pulled that off, make sure to comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe to Major Tom's Tales, because what followed next made a seasoned SEAL commander rethink everything he believed about combat. The convoy grinds to a halt 3 clicks south of the target compound, dust hanging in the air like a heavy curtain, turning the midday sun into a copper disk that scorches your eyelids even when they're shut. The heat makes every piece of gear feel twice as heavy, sweat vanishing before it cools, each breath like inhaling fire. Technical Sergeant Ava Torres hops down from the back of the vehicle, mid-20s, average height, dark hair in a tight bun already filled with grit, standard-issue kit strapped to her frame, a worn plate carrier, an M4 across her chest, and a compact observation setup marking her role as support instead of a trigger puller. What makes her stand out can't be spotted right away. It's in the calm, precise way she scans the horizon and picks positions with clean sight lines like it's instinct, awareness from someplace beyond manuals or training. Lieutenant Commander Cole Maddox hits the ground with the confidence of someone who has done this 100 times, his SEALs spreading into formation smoothly, each man locking down a sector, every weapon covering another angle with zero wasted motion and not a word spoken. Cole throws Ava a quick look, the kind experienced operators give personnel who aren't supposed to fire. Not rude, just acknowledging she's here to watch. Sergeant Torres, observe from the TOC vehicle. We're running interdiction drills on that ridge, he orders, gesturing at jagged rock outcrops jutting from the desert floor like broken teeth. Stay on comms, take notes, and keep your head down if things get messy. Understood, sir, she replies with no hint of emotion, heading toward the armored tactical operations truck packed with comm gear, but she has no intention of staying there. The compound lies tucked inside a shallow valley, the kind of terrain that offers perfect hiding spots and endless headaches for anyone approaching. Intelligence claims it's a hub in a weapons pipeline, a place where guns move from one group of dangerous people to another. The SEAL team's job is straightforward on the briefing slide. Watch, interrupt, figure out who's involved, collect evidence, the kind of simple that never is once boots hit the dirt. Chief Petty Officer Marcus Webb positions the sniper team on a rocky ridgeline that gives elevation and enough concealment to vanish into the environment. His spotter, Petty Officer Hayes, peers through high-end optics, calling distances with crisp precision. Main gate at 800 meters, side building just shy of 950, and that tower in the back stretching out to 1100. Webb settles behind a rifle worth more than most vehicles, muttering about shifting winds and thermals, changing faster than a clock's second hand. Below, the compound shows movement, vehicles coming and going without pattern, silhouettes crossing open ground like they believe nothing could touch them here. Lieutenant Commander Cole Maddox manages comms and positions from the command site, everything aligning perfectly until it doesn't. The attack hits without warning. Silence replaced by the violent crack of high-caliber rifle fire and the booming roar of heavy machine guns. The threat isn't inside the compound at all. They're dug into the high rocks, holding angles that let them rain bullets over every SEAL position. Whoever set this up understands U.S. playbooks, predicting sniper placement and command oversight like they'd written the plan themselves. Webb realizes the danger only when a round slams into the rock inches from his face, spraying shards across his cheek. He rolls out blindly, leaving behind the perfect nest he spent minutes crafting. Contact, multiple shooters, high ground east and north. Hayes calls targets as fast as he can spot them, but there are too many guns, too many angles. Maddox's voice slices through the chaos on the radio, steady but urgent. All elements, we're in a prepared kill zone. Find cover and return fire. The platoon reacts instantly, moving with that brutal efficiency forged in endless training, leapfrogging to cover while laying down bursts of suppression, teamwork over heroics. But the incoming fire is precise, coordinated, deadly. Petty Officer Martinez takes a shot through his leg. Chen's radio erupts in his ear, leaving him bleeding and stunned. Their ability to maneuver is crumbling. Webb tries to dial in shots from his new position, but the blistering thermal distortion turns his view into a warped mirage. He fires at a flash, misses, adjusts, still wide. I can't get a clean shot. Frustration leaking through his discipline. The air's like soup downrange. Hayes keeps calling corrections, tracking impacts through the swirling heat, doing everything he can, but it's not enough. But without solid hits and without being able to suppress those shooters, the SEALs are getting dismantled piece by piece. Cole Maddox is forced into the decision every commander dreads. They're losing the fight. They need to pull back, get the wounded out, and regroup. But moving means exposing the team, and exposure means more bodies dropping. That's when Ava Torres says something over the radio that freezes everyone mid-action. Commander Maddox, Torres requesting permission to move to a firing position. There's a hesitation. He's juggling casualties, fire support, and keeping what's left of his platoon alive. He doesn't have time for whatever someone from support thinks she can do. Negative, Torres. Stay in the talk. We've got this handled. Sir, with respect, your snipers can't beat the thermals. I can. The silence that follows is longer this time. Maddox knows Webb, one of the Navy's finest. And if he can't land shots, what makes a tech sergeant believe she can? But his people are bleeding out, and the situation is slipping. There's something in her voice, too. Not ego, not panic, just certainty. 30 seconds, Sergeant. Convince me this isn't a waste of time. Ava doesn't bother with a speech. Been watching the valley since arrival. Thermal cycles every 45 seconds. There's a 3-second stability window. Your shooters are fighting the distortion. I'm tracking it. Maddox has gambled his career with less intel. Webb, let her take a shot. One chance. Ava slips 50 meters south from the talk, dropping into a shallow dip that gives her a new angle. She's carrying something no manifest listed. A battered rifle case that's seen miles. She pops it open like she's done it 1,000 times. Inside is a custom precision rifle. Parts from a dozen makers blended into a single purpose-built machine. Competition-grade optics, hand-lapped barrel, a trigger smooth as glass. Webb's eye stays glued to his spotter scope as she works. Every motion is clean, practiced, nothing wasted. She sets up like someone who's lived behind a rifle her whole life. The valley sharpens in her glass. Waves of heat shimmer rolling and twisting. But instead of fighting them, she's gauging their rhythm like she's reading a heartbeat. A target slips between cover at 875 meters, confident the mirage hides him. Ava shadows his movement, watching the blur dance, counting softly. 3, 2, 1. The shimmer steadies for the briefest breath of time. Her crosshairs lock. She slows her pulse to that still space between heartbeats, finger easing into the trigger. The shot cracks sharp and clean, echoing across the valley. Downrange, everything changes. The fighter drops hard, his rifle clattering against stone, a clean hit. Hayes can't hide the shock in his voice as he calls it out. "Center mass, target down." Ava Torres is already shifting to her next engagement, cycling the bolt with smooth, almost casual speed. New shooter, different distance, different elevation. She watches the heat distortion, rise and fall, waiting for her window, then fires. Another hit. She keeps transitioning like a machine, built for one purpose. Every trigger pull intentional and unforgiving. Where Webb had been fighting the conditions just to land a shot, Ava is cutting through them with cold precision. The enemy finally realizes they're being erased. Return fire surges, but her spot is tucked into terrain nobody expected to threaten them. A hidden angle that makes her practically invisible compared to Webb's exposed ridge. Target 3, a machine gunner pinning the SEALs down at 920 meters, tucked behind jagged rock. Ava reads the angles, threads a bullet through the tiny opening he thought was safety. Machine gun silent. For the first time since the ambush kicked off, Cole Maddox's tone carries something like hope. Next, a spotter calling corrections from high ground at 150 meters, convinced the mirage protects him like it has everyone else. Ava proves him dead wrong. Long-range target neutralized, Hayes reports, and now there's respect in his voice, the kind that isn't given easily. The whole battle flips with ruthless speed. The ambushers counted on U.S. snipers being blinded by the environment, and they were right for 5 minutes. They never accounted for Ava Torres. She keeps working down the line, a flanker creeping toward the SEALs, a machine gun team scrambling to set up elsewhere, a leader barking orders that will never be carried out. Every shot removes a threat. The incoming fire doesn't fade because they're low on ammo. It fades because everyone who can shoot straight is being deleted one by one. Webb watches through his glass as Ava snaps to a target he hasn't even found yet, and takes the shot before he can blink. How is she reading them that fast? He mutters. Hayes has no answer. 8 years spotting for elite shooters, and none of it explains what he's seeing. Ava's 9th target tries to retreat, sprinting between rocks and using cover like a pro. She leads him by 3 feet, predicts his path, and fires. He never comes out the other side. Moving target, 850, clean hit, Hayes says, like he's reporting a ghost story. Target 10 pops up at extreme distance, more than 1,100 meters, dragging a heavy weapon, assuming range equals safety. Ava makes microscopic scope corrections, maps the wind in layers, plots the bullet's arc through scorching air that wants to bend physics. She pulls the trigger, and 3 seconds later, fate arrives. When the bullet finally arrives, the fighter collapses like someone cut his strings. 1,100 meters, Webb murmurs, disbelief thick in his voice. Under these conditions, impossible. Yet the proof lies motionless on desert rock. On Maddox's tactical display, enemy icons blink out one after another. The ambush that should have wiped his platoon is falling apart. Casualties stabilized, momentum shifting. Because one woman with a rifle is rewriting how battles work. Target 11 tries to rally the survivors, shouting into a radio, his stance unmistakably command and control. Ava sees everything she needs in his posture and removes him from the equation. A 940-meter shot no ordinary sniper could have made in this heat. What's left of the hostile force breaks instantly. The survivors do the math. Staying means dying. They scatter, dropping weapons in panic, fleeing from a threat they still haven't seen. Ava tracks them through her scope, but she doesn't fire. They're no longer part of the fight. Engagement complete. She safes her rifle, drops the mag, clears the chamber with muscle memory so ingrained it looks effortless, then tears down her position as efficiently as she built it. By the time Cole Maddox reaches her, she's already sealing the battered case. Sergeant Torres. His voice now carries the tone reserved for fellow operators. I need you to explain what I just saw. Ava looks up, calm and unreadable. I engaged 12 hostile fighters. All were neutralized, within 90 seconds. He isn't questioning the numbers. Through conditions that shut down my best sniper at ranges that rifle shouldn't handle. She doesn't argue. Yes, sir. That's not standard training. You don't learn that in sniper school. No, sir, she replies evenly. Maddox studies her, trying to reconcile the quiet support tech listed on his convoy roster with the razor-sharp weapon of war he just watched. Where were you assigned before this? I'm not authorized to discuss previous postings, sir. It's the response he expected, which tells him exactly what he needs to know. There are units that don't show up on org charts. Programs built to do the impossible in places that officially don't exist. Webb and Hayes approach, still trying to process. Ma'am, Webb starts and falters. How did you read those thermals? I've been shooting 12 years and couldn't get one clean picture. Ava thinks a moment before answering. The distortion repeats. Once you learn the rhythm, you time the shots in the stable windows. Hayes shakes his head in stunned honesty. Nobody shoots like that. Hitting a moving target at 850 through that shimmer? That's movie stuff. It's physics and practice, Ava replies. Just more of both. Maddox makes a call that will change the rest of their deployment. Sergeant, I'm formally attaching you to this platoon as designated marksman. Whatever your original orders were, operational necessity comes first. Ava meets his stare directly. Sir, I don't believe that's advisable. Why not? You just saved 12 of my people. I'd be a fool not to use talent like yours, Cole Maddox presses. But Ava shakes her head slightly. Sir, I'm not supposed to be the one pulling the trigger. I'm the one who trains others to do it. The meaning sinks in. Maddox has been in special operations long enough to understand what isn't said. Whatever Ava Torres did before this deployment, she was valuable enough to be assigned a support, not a frontline shooter. But circumstances revealed the truth. Talent like hers doesn't stay hidden. Maddox answers without hesitation. Then, consider this a training opportunity. My snipers clearly have a lot to learn from you. It sounds polite, but they both know it's an order. Ava nods. Understood, sir. I'll work with Chief Webb on the training schedule. As she heads back toward the vehicles, Webb and Hayes fall in beside her, firing off eager questions about thermals and lead timing. Maddox watches them leave, then keys his radio for casualty reports. One by one, confirmations roll in. Martinez is stable and will need evac, but he'll make it. Chen's hearing is rattled, but he's still in the fight. A handful of minor injuries across the platoon, and that's it. They should have been devastated. 70% casualties at minimum, half the team gone. Instead, they walk away standing, because one operator no one expected to fight had abilities no one knew existed. Maddox makes a note to dig into Ava Torres's personnel file. Whatever clearances or favors it takes, he intends to find out exactly who was sent to him disguised as support. An evacuation bird arrives in a storm of dust and rotor wash. Medics load the wounded quickly, Martinez giving a woozy thumbs up as painkillers glaze his eyes. Ava helps secure gear, every move calm and perfectly controlled. Chen thanks her quietly for saving his life. She just nods. Doing my job, petty officer, just glad you're still here. But Webb isn't done thinking. His mind keeps replaying the impossible marksmanship. As the helicopter roars skyward, he steps beside her. "Sergeant, that 1,100-meter hit, with thermals causing 6 inches of drift?" He pauses, searching for words. Ava finishes them calmly. 3-level temperature gradients, wind shifts along the bullet path, Coriolis adjustment at that distance, and timing for target motion during flight. Webb just stares. He knows shooters who can't do that math at a desk, let alone under fire. Most snipers can't run those calculations anywhere, much less while being shot at. Most don't need to, Ava says. Standard solutions work for standard missions. Hayes joins, curiosity overwhelming him. "Permission to speak freely, ma'am?" She nods. "You're doing all that in your head, real time, while switching targets. That's not human." Ava's face stays perfectly composed, only the slightest shift in her eyes. "It's human, petty officer. Just very specific training, for a very specific job. Take someone born with raw talent, give them 10,000 hours of practice under increasingly brutal conditions, and let masters of the craft shape them. And suddenly the impossible becomes normal." 10,000 hours? Webb echoes, almost stunned. "That's years of full-time work." "Yes," Ava Torres replies simply. The weight of that truth settles over them like desert sand. Ava has not been a support tech for long. Whatever she was before required absolute devotion to a single skill far beyond standard military specialization. Cole Maddox summons them to the Mobile Operations Center, where drone feeds show the valley cleared of threats. Abandoned positions, scattered weapons, heat signatures fading into stillness. "Sergeant Torres, your engagement neutralized 12 confirmed hostiles and forced the rest to break contact. Post-action review indicates you prevented a coordinated ambush that would have cost us many lives." Ava gives a short nod, offering nothing more. "I'm filing a commendation for—" "Sir," she cuts in respectfully, "I'd prefer you didn't." Maddox freezes mid-sentence. "You're declining recognition?" "Requesting that my actions be recorded in classified channels only. Operational security." The pause stretches. Then everything clicks into place. Public credit could reveal programs that are meant to stay invisible. "Understood," Maddox says carefully. "I'll ensure it's handled quietly, but my people saw what you did. They'll talk." "I know, sir. I'm just asking the paperwork reflect the mission, not me." Webb speaks up, unable to hold back. "With respect, you saved our lives. You deserve the credit." Ava turns to face him directly. "Chief, I did what I'm trained to do when the situation required it. That's not heroics. That's my job. The real credit goes to the operators who kept fighting, who protected each other under fire. That's your platoon, not me." It's deflection, but it's genuine. She truly wants no spotlight. Maddox nods once. "Fine, classified record only, but you're still attached to this team. My people need what you know." "Yes, sir." The briefing moves on, reviewing tactics, analyzing mistakes, drawing lessons. Ava contributes like a subject matter expert, breaking down environmental reads and firing solutions as the SEALs absorb every word like students learning a brand new science. When the session ends and the platoon disperses for maintenance and recovery, Webb stops her quietly. "Sergeant, that 1,100-meter shot, the one nobody believes is real. What was going through your mind?" Ava considers the question seriously. "There was a man with a heavy weapon who would kill Americans if I didn't. I had the skill, the training, and a clear responsibility. And sometimes the only difference between impossible and possible is deciding not to accept the limits." She turns away, leaving Webb alone in the scorching sun with a lesson that has nothing to do with ballistics and everything to do with mindset. Over the next 2 weeks, Ava reshapes the platoon's sniper capability, not through lectures but through combat repetition. She teaches them to read the rhythm of heat, to shoot inside stability windows invisible to most eyes, to solve a complex ballistics without a computer. Webb becomes her most committed student, grinding through the mental math Ava does subconsciously. He'll never match 10,000 hours in 2 weeks, but his accuracy jumps to a new level. Hayes learns to spot through chaos, calling those tiny windows where precision lives. Hayes's corrections become smoother and instinctive, anticipation replacing hesitation. The whole platoon sharpens with Ava Torres around. Martinez, back on his feet after the leg wound, watches her quietly, noticing how she positions during briefings, how her gaze never stops mapping movement, how her awareness is never off. He recognizes that the soft-spoken support tech who saved his life operates at a level most soldiers will never witness. Maddox puts all of it into classified after-action reports meant only for eyes cleared high enough to understand. He records that Technical Sergeant Torres possesses elite marksmanship skills, exceptional tactical instincts, and a rare ability to pass that knowledge on. He pointedly avoids digging into where she learned any of it. Some answers are better left unspoken. 4 more operations follow. Ava takes part in 3, always providing overwatch that lets the SEALs execute with minimal risk. She rarely pulls the trigger, letting Webb and Hayes take the shots when possible. But when the mission balances on a single precise bullet, Ava delivers every time. On the final op, they're extracting a high-value informant. Fast in, secure, fast out. But the extraction point erupts under heavy machine gun fire from a hidden position nearly 2,000 meters out. The gun pins both helicopter and platoon down. Webb can't find an angle. Hayes can't spot through the darkness and distance. Ava locates it in 30 seconds, tracking the rhythm of muzzle flashes and the delayed echo of the rounds. She runs the numbers in her head: extreme range, nighttime conditions, target barely visible. "I can make that shot," she tells Maddox, "but it'll take everything I've got." "Then do it." Ava sets up on a slight rise, letting terrain anchor her body. The optic is built for daylight, but she's trained for more than perfect conditions. She listens to the cadence of the bursts, predicting the pause. When the world narrows to one heartbeat of stillness, she fires. 2 seconds later, 2,000 meters away, the machine gun goes silent. The helicopter lifts with the informant aboard, and the SEALs withdraw clean. Mission complete. Back at base, Webb finds Ava cleaning her rifle with the same precise calm she brings to every moment. He just shakes his head, murmuring, 2,000 meters. In darkness, against a moving target that's not in any manual. "No," Ava Torres says quietly. "It's not." Webb studies her. "So, where did you learn to shoot like that?" For the first time since arriving, she offers something close to a real answer. "There's a place they send people with a certain skill. Not many, maybe 1 in 100,000. They teach you until shooting feels like breathing. They put you in situations where perfection is survival. They keep pushing until impossible becomes normal. Then they send you to places where your country needs something done, something that can't be acknowledged." Webb takes that in. "And after all that?" "They give you a new job," Ava replies. "Something quiet, somewhere you can pass on the skill without revealing where it came from. You become a trainer, a quiet upgrade to the force." Hayes steps closer. "But sometimes you have to do what you used to do." Ava nods once. "Sometimes, but that's supposed to be rare." She finishes cleaning her rifle, locks it back into its case, sealing away the version of herself that hits impossible shots in impossible conditions. What's left is the calm support specialist, except now everyone knows better. The deployment ends with the platoon returning to the U.S., their near-perfect mission record drawing attention high up the chain of command. Cole Maddox's classified reports travel to desks belonging to people who understand what's written between the lines. Technical Sergeant Ava Torres receives new orders: Advanced Marksmanship Instructor, Special Warfare Center. A quiet reassignment on paper, a loud acknowledgement to those who know. On their final day together, the platoon gathers without speeches or ceremony, just operators showing respect. Webb hands her something wrapped in cloth. "We wanted you to have this." Inside is a custom challenge coin. One side, crosshairs. The other, ghost shot, 12 and 90. "That's not regulation," Ava says, but she's smiling. "Neither are you," Webb answers. "But you saved our lives. We wanted to give you something to remember us by." She slips the coin into her pocket. "I won't forget any of you. Stay safe, Chief, and keep practicing those wind calls." "Yes, ma'am." Maddox walks her to the transport. No salute, no handshake. Just a silent exchange between warriors who understand exactly what the other has done. The dynamic between a commander and a subordinate doesn't allow for easy familiarity, but the respect between Cole Maddox and Ava Torres is unmistakable. "Sergeant Torres," he asks, genuinely curious now, "that first day, when you said you could make those shots, did you know for sure, or were you gambling?" Ava takes a moment to answer. "I was certain, sir. The conditions were rough, but still inside my training limits. I knew I could provide the capability the mission required." Maddox presses softly. "But you didn't know us. You could have stayed in the talk where it was safe and let us work it out. Why take that risk?" Ava meets his eyes. "Because that's not why I was trained, Commander. You don't spend years mastering a skill just to watch good people die when you can stop it. The risk was nothing compared to the alternative." Maddox nods slowly. "The military needs more people who think like that." "It already has them, sir," Ava says. "They're everywhere. What separates us is simply the training we've been given." She climbs into the transport without a backward glance. Maddox stands there watching as the vehicle disappears into the base traffic, carrying away one of the most lethal shooters he has ever commanded, wrapped in the title of support technician. She'll go back to teaching, advising, living quietly unless the world demands something different. Because sometimes the most dangerous person on the battlefield is the one no one expects. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to Major Tom's Tales for more incredible stories every day.